I've been asked to revisit a movie we made a short time ago where there was discussion about selection sets and manipulating the selection set. If we zoom in on this particular design, and notice here I have a couple of circles. There's one of them on the outside, one on the inside, and then a couple of lines. And I can grab all of those by an all-inclusive window, drawing in that way from top left to bottom right, or a crossing window, and as long as the entities cross the window, they're selected. If we move across to the properties box here and have a look, we've selected 4 entities. We know because it's fairly simple, 2 circles and 2 lines. But I can just isolate the 2 circles if I want, and you may be able to see that the 2 circles are now isolated and show green. But I can combine the Shift key. If I hold the Shift key down, let's say I was having trouble picking that underlying circle, which is this one here. I can hold the Shift key down and click on the outer one, then use a crossing window to get rid of the 2 lines. So at this point I could right click, having selected 1 out of 4, I could erase those. So these techniques are really important when you're working with a drawing like this where there are lots of entities overlapping one another. Well, you may remember from the earlier drawing that through this area here where we wanted just a single line, and we probably would change the line type to show those little circles there. If I did, say, a crossing window through here, like so, I get lots of overlapping lines. There are already 14 entities in that selection there, 1 circle and 1 line. And what I'm really after is the ability to manipulate that selection set. And you've already seen how you might be able to isolate just the circle from there if you wanted to get rid of the circle, or isolate all of the lines in one go. But now that we are more confident about manipulating things, I'd be inclined here to zoom in here and say I'm going to use an all-inclusive window, and I'll pan across. Notice I can pan at the same time as I'm going to now select, and there's all of the entities in that zone through there. They're all selected, and there are 83, 1 polyline, 1 circle and 1 line there. What we want to do is to manipulate things. Now, I hope that whoever has drawn this has used a polyline to work all the way through, so we could now hold the Shift key down. We could isolate that polyline, and it should be green, but we can't see it because there's so much overlapping. Now, let's hope for the moment that I'm holding my Shift key down. Let's see if we can eliminate that. So I'm hopeful that now there'll be at least 1 line running through and left there, and I can just erase the rest of them. Now, my hope was a little forlorn. There was a polyline there, but I could then pick the end of it and move it to the end point of that one. Sorry for the wavering mouse, and unselect all. There's 1 polyline running through there, and we had over 80 individual elements, and they're all gone. So we're simplifying the drawing a lot. And at this point, you might want to select it and just change its line type. And we'll have a fence line, call it fence line 1, and we need to change the line type scale. We'll try 100 and hit enter and unselect all. So we now have 1 line through there giving us pretty much what we had before, and that was just a guess at a scale of 100. So if we If we double that to a scale of 200, now we get, well, that's a bit much, make it 150, and I'm relatively happy with that. We've got what we had before, and the drawing file size is dramatically reduced. So manipulating the selection set is a real time saver. The only thing to do is just to fix things up. We inadvertently took this little section out here, and I was just going to grab those entities there and mirror them across this line. But as soon as we do that, we have pretty much the same problem we had before. An enormous number of entities just in that little area. There were 31 lines in there and one polyline running through there. So before I mirrored it, which is a quick and simple operation, of course we can get rid of the gate swing. Before I did that, I'd certainly want to fix it up through there. Probably the quickest way to go is to draw another line and isolate across the top of that zone through there. So we are grappling with the problem here of multiple lines, one on top of the other, and of course it's a lot better if we don't draw that way to start with. But manipulating your selection set is crucial, as we said, to efficient drafting.